powers of financial capitalism had another far-reaching aim, nothing less than to create a world system of financial control in private hands, able to dominate the political systems of each country and the economy of the world as a whole. Founding documents of the United States were created to prevent just such an occasion. How did this happen? How did our founding documents not work as they were intended to work? How did they not safeguard us? Well, these documents were actually designed to be subverted and have been, from Washington all the way to Trump. The system that we learn about of checks and balances was in fact quite the opposite. The system was designed to be pulled apart. The deep state existed even before these documents, with the argument of who controlled the money supply, controlled the destiny of a people. That's why the original safeguard that Congress should control the money supply was actually designed just as the prevention of a direct tax against its citizens to be subverted. Much of this begins with the Supreme Court in 1803. The safeguarders of the Constitution are actually the original perverters of the Constitution. Judicial review would pave the way of pulling power toward Washington, D.C. and toward these international banking institutions, case by case by case. The real game changer comes in 1800. These framers who claimed to be against political parties are going to themselves establish the political party system. And with the establishment of the political party system, we get democracy, the conversion of a republican form of government to a democratic form of government. The form of government that the oligarchical elite just love because they hide behind the controlled opposition therein. They fund and control both sides. So we have the Hamiltonian picture of the destiny of the nation juxtaposed against the Jeffersonian view. But of course, Jefferson is simply false opposition all the way along, as was his opposition to the Central Hamiltonian Bank. This bank that Carroll Quigley would be the oligarchs who put control of each and every nation into their private hands. So what we see from the construction of the political party system is the institutionalization of the deep state in the United States and the control of both the left and the right. Carroll Quigley himself identifies this moment as the moment when the deep state becomes permanently part of the structure of politics in the United States and a permanent feature of mind control and misdirection. Hamilton point blank said, I want these private bankers to control our destiny. Again, he's using arguments that the central bankers use today. It's better left to these professionals to control cycles of inflation and deflation. Jefferson purports to argue against this. He's saying these people are a financial aristocracy with an agenda. It's not too different from what Cornwallis was telling Washington. He's looking at the financial and economic piece of this. And he's saying if we allow this aristocracy to control our destiny, what will happen is that we will place our own powers, he said, in a dangerous position. He said nothing could be more dangerous to our liberties than these bankers, and more dangerous than standing armies. I mean, how much more dangerous? Through seemingly wanting to control inflation and deflation, the outcome, he says, will be perpetual indebtedness and eventually servitude to these powers. And who are these powers precisely that Jefferson is referring to? Well, they're essentially the bankers from the city of London that both Hamilton and Jefferson worked for. They're the same international bankers that we identify with the black nobility, who set up camp in Spain and created a hegemonic power, who then shifted that power into Holland and created their navy and their hegemonic rule, and then crossed the channel into London about 100 years before the establishment of the United States. So these people were well aware of who we're talking about. They were well aware of the names that we're familiar with. They were well aware of the banking powerhouses that were established throughout the major cities of the world. The people that would sponsor both sides of every war. The people that would give you the isms, the socialism, the communism, the capitalism, the libertarianism, those ideas that we had today. But these powers go much, much, much deeper, deep into the ancient world. We have the power of gold. Who owns the gold makes the rules. It's the golden rule. We'll see little symbolism, little breadcrumbs of where they have been throughout the ages and where they're going. The project for world domination, we see it in ancient Rome. Through the Venetian black nobility who sponsored the Crusades, extending their eastward reach in the 10th, 11th, and 12th centuries, to the financing of the Age of Discovery, which would extend their control west. Strange bedfellows were created with the dominant religious institutions throughout the ages. Always we see strange juxtapositions. Financing both sides of every war and all of the isms. From Germany to England to Germany to England. British Empire absorbed all of the empires and all of the other isms. Designed to capture each and every frame of reference. Communism, world control. Nazism. world control. Esoteric Nazism, esoteric Judaism. All of the isms building toward the ultimate ism. Globalism, World Federation. From the Babylonians all the way to the New Babylon. The agenda was never about economics. It was about the spiritual destiny of mankind.